All right. What I want to do for everyone, thank you so much for putting this together. This has been a lot of fun. I'm going to get you over a link. Feel free to put it in the show notes or whatever it is that you want to do. I encourage everyone to schedule a free consultation. Click on the link below, schedule a free call. It's 45 minutes to an hour for you to go over your situation, whether it be entity structure, business credit development, tax planning, tax prep, tax filing, or even estate planning, trust, wills, living wills to protect your legacy. Schedule a call on the link below. And when you schedule, let them know that you want a free copy of the ebook From Vision to Venture.
I'm your host, Money Making Mando, with another episode of the Real Estate Deli, where we cut through all the noise and deliver actionable insights to you and make the information to the star. And today I have the pleasure to introduce you guys, Tommy Thornburg. Tommy, thank you again for coming on, brother. Appreciate you.
Money Making Mando, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be fun.
Thank you. Yeah, you're a kind of part of our community through osmosis, not even osmosis. You are a part of our community. I belong in a owners club, which is a mastermind that Pace Morby and Jamil Damji are the leaders of. And also at Gator, which I'm also a part of Gator. And you guys facilitate a relationship with them as well, which I appreciate everything you do. So yeah, Tommy, let's get into how do you get into this space, the real estate space? Because we had some conversations and we kind of connected some of my backgrounds, and you were like, damn, sounds similar to me. So let's get into that a little bit, Tom.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll take you all the way back. I was 3 years old. My parents got divorced. And, as you grow up and you realize how things impact your life, that was a big moment in my life, obviously. And my mom is a real estate agent. My dad owned a real estate brokerage, and my stepdad was a general contractor. So a lot of my upbringing was all real estate. And for a long time, I thought that I'd either go the agent route or the broker route. And I grew up in kind of an interesting situation where I kind of joked that the only thing my parents really had in common is they wanted my sister and I to be self-employed. So for that, I am forever grateful. My first self-employed gig, I was 18 years old. I drove from Salt Lake City, Utah, where I still currently live, all the way to Raleigh, North Carolina. I knocked door to door selling pest control. And it was a throw you into sales, marketing, fulfillment, everything that you need to know about entrepreneurship. I'm a big fan of door to door for that reason. We started Prime Corporate back in 2012. I was 22 years old, and we found a niche in the market that people really need to understand the legal and the financial and the tax side of a business. Benjamin Franklin said it best. The only two guarantees are death and taxes. And we've really grown. Since 2012, we've structured over 175,000 businesses. We file 50,000 plus tax forms a year. I've got over 350 employees. So it's been a crazy, awesome, fun, rewarding journey helping entrepreneurs save money in taxes and set themselves up for success. So that's a little bit about me.
Yeah. What made you start a company? Well, obviously you had the background. That entrepreneurial spirit was ingrained in you. And what made you fill this particular gap? Did you have prior history in this space, or can you just touch base on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, with all of my mom and my two dads being self-employed, I'm in Utah. I got to be careful how I say two dads. They think I'm polygamous or something, right?
For sure.
Tax time was always tough on my family. That's most entrepreneurs, the biggest expense you have is taxes. So I realized that was a pain point in my subconscious. When I was 18, I made $40,000 in 4 months knocking door to door. And I thought I was the smartest person in the world, right? Until Uncle Sam wanted 10 grand. I didn't have it. That money was gone. So I kept working. I kept self-employed jobs, and I met Steve Harward. He's the CEO of Prime Corporate, my partner over here. And he had told me what he does and that he was going to start a company. And it was around what we still do. We're like In-N-Out, entity structure, business credit, tax, estate planning. And I said, you know what? I can get on board with that. So that's what happened in 2012. It's knowing the right people. It's expanding your network. When I met Steve Harward, I met him on a Saturday night at a celebration of life, and we started working together with Prime that Monday. I just went all in, and it's something that I believe in. I'm a big believer in entrepreneurship and tax savings and being able to compound wealth and save money. So fortunately, going back to my childhood and entrepreneurship being a part of my life growing up, I knew that this is something that people needed more knowledge in. And it was very easy for me to go all in on. Fast forward 13 years later to where I am right now. I'm grateful I made that decision because I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, but I get to hire CPAs and attorneys to do the work, get the knowledge from them, and own businesses and be an investor and be an entrepreneur. And I'm really grateful with how those things have turned out. We have an amazing client base that has made it all possible.
And speaking of investing and your family being in the real estate space, did you delve in real estate? Did you get the bug, or like me, like I told you, I kind of learned it through my mom. And how about yourself?
Yeah, so I bought my first property when I was 22 years old, actually, right before Prime Corporate. So it was I just bought my house. This feels insecure. Is this really what I should be doing right now? But that's kind of, my risk tolerance is pretty high. I'm willing to take risks. I always have been. I think I get a lot of that from my parents. Once again, I think that's harder for some people than it was for me. But fast forward to where I am now, and yes, I own 78 doors of real estate in 4 different states. A lot of my real estate investments are for tax strategy. My wife is a real estate agent. She got that probably 4 or 5 years ago, primarily so that our family qualifies for real estate professional status. I tell people all the time, when it comes to tax planning, October, November, December is Q4. And that's when you should be planning and making investments to better your future. The majority of my real estate purchases are made in October, November, December, so that I could run cost segs, accelerate depreciation, keep more money in my corner, and create cash flow for the future. So if I didn't know what I know from a tax standpoint, I don't think I'd be as heavily invested in real estate as I am. But knowing how amazing depreciation is when it comes to tax strategy, it's been a big part of my business life.
That's awesome. That was a great pro tip for people who want to know kind of when to invest. That last quarter makes a difference. So guys, pay attention from somebody who kind of knows what he's doing, right? Also, I want to delve back a little bit on that door knocking, right? And you said it kind of made you who you are, right? Can you tell me some of those experiences? Because you're knocking on someone's door, you're a man, they're probably not too receptive in what you probably have to offer. How do you overcome those objections? How do you respond to the objections? How you grow in that space? And what did that create for you as you started growing and getting into business as well?
Yeah, this is a great question. I mean, Chris Rock said this several years ago. He said he feels like 2 years of knocking doors is equivalent to a 4-year college degree. And obviously there's people that agree and disagree with that statement. But the reason that I do agree with it is it fully throws you into what it means to be a business owner. And you're a no away from a yes. A lot of it is a numbers game, right? And there's people that are better at sales than others, and there's people that are more determined than others, and there's people that have thicker skin that are willing to get more no's than they are yeses. And I think it teaches you a lot of those things. When you're knocking doors, you have people that aren't home. It's equivalent to making a phone call and not getting an answer. You get the why are you calling me? The people cussing you out. I had one guy answer the door with a gun, tell me to get off of his property so he doesn't have to use it. Those are all things that are character builders, in my opinion. They're things that help you realize that you're one more no away from getting that yes. And if you have a good product, whether it's pest control, real estate, keeping people from foreclosure, whatever it may be, believing in what you do and staying determined to making additional financial gain and making it win-wins. My mentor calls them grandma deals, where everyone wins. If you're offering someone a deal with real estate that's helping them and you can help them understand how it's helping them, it makes it a lot easier to keep pounding the pavement or to keep dialing that phone. And being able to overcome objection and being able to handle rejection, I think, is the most important thing that I realized, because not everyone's meant for everyone. You're not going to be friends with everyone. You're not going to like everyone. You're not going to do business with everyone. But when you get to relate with people and find the opportunities where you are a fit, then that's a lot of times where money's able to be made and relationships are able to be built. And I think that's something that I've learned over the years.
That's great. As a man who's been in business for a decade plus, has a lot of background in business, business is not always an upward trajectory, right? There's always ebbs and flows, like a stock ticker. It goes up, goes down somewhat, retraces, it goes back again. Let's get into some of those retracements, right? Some of those struggles that you've encountered, some of those lessons that you learned from difficult lessons that were unexpected. And those are, I think, lessons that the audience would love to know how to grow from those struggles and those pains, right? And how to overcome and not be overwhelmed as well, and be able to still navigate in that space, right? Because you eventually want to grow out those pains as well, and it solidifies you. It just gives you a different type of metal, right?
Yeah, I mean, hey, money making Mando, I'm going to tell you something that you've said yourself. I guarantee it, and something we can agree on. More money, more problems, right? We've all heard that. But those are really good problems to have, and you're going to welcome them with open arms. One of the services that we offer is building and developing business credit and corporate funding, which obviously being a Gator lender, a PML lender yourself. And here's what I tell people. Everyone has problems, whether it's personal or business. When you make money or you have good credit, those problems are oftentimes easier to resolve. Not always, but a lot of times they're easier to resolve. So a personal and business struggle that we dealt with along our journey, as we grew and as we scaled the company, it was really hard to keep up with the demand for filing taxes. And we got to a point where we had more clients than we did accountants. And it was really, really difficult to grow the tax side of the business. So what we had to do is we had to bring in a strategic partner to help us with mergers and acquisitions. And we ended up acquiring multiple tax firms and bringing them together to better the client experience. And one of the things that I have realized is if you keep the client experience first and you focus on bettering the experience, you continue to build solid relationships. No one's perfect. No business is perfect. Yes. But if you find people that care, I genuinely, truly care, not only about people, not only about clients, but about relationships. And hopefully that's, this, you send me a message and we're on the phone together a couple minutes afterwards, right? I care about the clients that we work with. I care about the relationships. And if I remember that I care and you lead with being a good person, my mom always says, more money makes good people better people, and more money makes bad people worse people. You give all the money in the world to Mother Teresa, she's going to go help more people. I will continue to care, and I will never forget the lessons and what my mother has instilled in me. And if I'm able to do that, all they are is problems that need to find solutions. So if I can be solution oriented to better a client experience, I will continue to grow and scale, which we've proven over the last 13 years.
Yeah, those are great virtues to live by. And it says that about the person. You're the leader of the business. You're the tip of the spear, right? So I think it trickles down your morals, your personality, your wants, your needs, or how you want something to work. And you can identify kind of the people you want to work under you as well. Because you just literally want, you want people to be successful. You want a great customer experience. You want a long-lasting experience as well. And that long-lasting experience translates into word of mouth. And then, once you take care of a client and a customer, that just exponentially grows your business, and you don't know where it could go. So I agree to all that. And again, it's going back to who, not how, right? Kind of finding your who's. Who can I put in place to execute these tasks? And sometimes we get overcome with the how. How do I do these things, right? And you turn kind of a mountain into a molehill, right? So or vice versa. But yeah, sometimes you get on your way, and just gotta have that perspective that there's people out there that I need to be in contact with that can resolve these issues, and I can kind of delegate responsibilities to. Right?
Yeah, so it's great. It's a really one of the things that we looked at when it comes to taxes, just to kind of how do I make this more of an investment as opposed to an expense for our clients? Because everyone has to file their taxes. Yeah. What would separate us from someone else? If you're paying us to file your taxes, I want you to feel like it's an investment into your business because we're saving you way more money than you're paying. And when it feels like that, that's what I want as a client, right? We're coming out with a really, really awesome portal. I'm excited about it, where people can store all of their financial information, and they can put themselves in a position where they have a one-stop shop to go qualify for a house, or know where their insurance is. What do I want as a client? I've grown, I've scaled, I have people that help me manage and finance all of my finances, all of my businesses. How do I provide that to someone that's either just getting started or in the earlier stages of their business? And leading with what you want that's going to better your business. What would you want to hear or what would you want to experience if you were on the other end of the phone? And I think that if you think about it that way and work backwards, right, with the type of business that you're operating, reverse engineer your process, and it makes it a whole lot easier to be able to build value.
Awesome. Tommy, there was two specific things that when I contacted you, I wanted some knowledge about, and as well, the audience will be very informed as well once they hear it. It was business credit, which you kind of touched on. Can you get into that? Let's get into that business credit. And like me, I'm a lender, and you want to be able to leverage other people's money. And a form of that is through business credit. Can you delve into that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll start by saying I've never met an entrepreneur that says, I wish I had less money, right? And I think that's important to start with, because no matter how much money you have, it's easier to grow. It's easier to scale. It's easier to help more people. And when you have financial freedom, having funding opportunities is a massive value to any business owner. So when it comes to business credit, here's how I like to lay it out. Everyone has a legal name, a social security number or an ITIN, and a personal FICO credit score that ranges from 300 to 850. And a lot of what we help business owners understand, you can do the same thing for your business. So let's make sure you have a legitimate business name, an EIN, an employer identification number, and you can build and develop a separate credit profile for your business that's called a PAYDEX score. It's PAYDEX. It ranges from 1 to 100. And 80 to 85 is like you having a 750 to an 800 credit score. So showing yourself as a business, being able to have a professional email in place, maybe a phone number, a business phone number. You go and you start getting these starter accounts like Staples and Uline and Granger, a gas card, and then it starts to qualify you to be able to get major bank cards that are tied with your business as opposed to you personally. And then after a year or two, getting lines of credit. And it's a massive value. I could tell you story after story, if you would like me to, on success stories. So one of the really cool stories. So about 8 years ago, we had a client that came to us and they wanted to turn those really cool Mercedes Sprinter vans. They're like the Amazon box trucks.
Yep.
Into camper vans. So he came to us. We set up the business entity. We helped him build business credit. He bought the Mercedes Sprinter van with business credit. He remodeled the whole thing using business credit. Before he was done, he got an offer for a $20,000 profit. So he sold it, made 20 grand, paid off all the debts, did it again. Ended up on Shark Tank, got a multi-million dollar deal. It's a multi-million dollar business still to this day. And it's a good idea. It's a great work ethic. It's business credit. A lot of people say that the opportunity of a lifetime only comes across your desk twice a week. And I think it's a bit ridiculous, but it sticks with you, right? When you have funding opportunities, it's easier to take advantage of those opportunities of a lifetime.
Yeah. Again, we all have these aspirations. Let me tell you a quick story here in New York City. In the wintertime, you know, if you have takeout food and stuff, you know, guys in the wintertime, they're driving around their little mopeds, you know, breaking the wind. It's 10 below, whatever it is here in New York. And I always wonder, man, these guys must be freezing, right? Riding those little mopeds and stuff. Who does that? And I would look at their hands and I would like, man, I had an idea. I said, how about if you can like attach some mittens into the driver's handles and the brake pads where they can maneuver their handles and just put their hands into the mittens and drive around. But again, I had the idea, but I didn't know how to bring that idea to life. Let's say if I would have known a little bit at that time about credit funding, where I can fund an opportunity and then I can now connect that to sourcing this product and then market it out, I think I would have been a billionaire, because I seen these things this is a 15-year, something I had a vision 15 years ago. And now you see them everywhere. Someone has that idea as well, right? Those ideas ever present. Another idea that you just mentioned, the Sprinter idea. As you know, affordability is so out of control, right? It's a real problem. And when I go to my barbershop, I know I go to a barbershop. It recently closed. I had 2 barbershops that I go to recently closed because the leases go up, you know, landlords want more money.
Wow.
Understood, right? So when you presented that Sprinter idea, it just clicked on me. How about if a barber, I can like source a Sprinter through business credit, remodel it, and make it into a mobile barber shop, right?
So smart. So smart.
So barbers make a lot of money. They always have constant clientele. It's something that you always have to get if you want to get a haircut. Your hair is always going to grow out. You always want to look fine and looking good. And again, that's something I thought about. Maybe I can partner with somebody, one of my barbers, and see if there's something there.
I don't know if you saw this or not. You should look. Patrick Bet-David did that with his barber and got him a really cool mobile shop. And that's one of the business strategies that he did. And I love the glove idea. And there's so many things like that where someone that we work with, one of our clients actually, he's based out of Florida. He said, what's the best information? He said, all the best information 6 feet under, because it's people that passed away with all these brilliant ideas they didn't hand to someone else.
That's so true.
And it's, there's so many brilliant business minds out there, and there's so many people that are sitting on amazing ideas. And I love that you share them in a situation like this, where all you're doing is looking to help other people. That mitten idea is great. One of my good buddies, this isn't a business credit story, but I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah. So there's a lot of skiing and a lot of snowboarding here. And he created a mitten. It's called Handout Gloves. They've got gloves and mittens, and there's a zipper right here. So you can unzip and pull it down so you can get your phone or get anything you need. But you don't have to take your glove all the way off. And he put it into manufacturing. He's made it happen, but the growing and the scaling is hard because you got manufacturers, you got distributors, you got products. To your point, affordability is difficult. And that's why there's such a political argument and conversation about taking business overseas. We're in an interesting time, and I think there's going to be a lot of money to be made over the next years for people that are finding solutions like yourself.
Yeah, again, it's all identifying a problem and having the vision and then the courage to then execute on it. And a lot of us, that's where we get stuck at ourselves, that fear, right? Yeah. I think we make something extraordinarily difficult when it's really not. And I think sometimes we take the fun out of it, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't make it, if you lose kind of your enthusiasm for something, it'll quickly die and lie dormant, as you say, and it'll be 6 feet under in no time. That happens, right? But I appreciate those credit stories and how you can leverage those opportunities. And do you guys at PCS, do you provide that granular step to take a person from the beginning? Hey, I'm interested, and hey, how do I get there?
Yeah, we do. Business credit development is something that we've done from the very beginning. And we've broken it down into a really cool, we've got a software-based solution, a 7-step process, 2,000 vendors, 15 different credit lines. You log in, you enter all your information. It tells you what you qualify for, what you don't, and why, and what you can do to be able to build and develop the strongest credit profile for your business possible. We're currently getting over $4 million a month in business credit and corporate funding for our clients. So really, really amazing solution. Something I'm really proud of. We've had different iterations of what that credit profile is over the last 13 years. And we're in a position now where I'm really, really proud of what we're able to deliver and help clients build credit off of.
That's a lot of capital on a monthly basis. Everyone listening, take advantage of that. These guys know what they're doing. They've been in business for a long time. Again, don't be left behind and take advantage of these opportunities, and then don't let your dreams die and lie dormant 6 feet under, as we're saying. But yeah, again, that's awesome. I'm actually in that space now, growing out my business credit, going through those granular steps as well, and then start seeing that execution at the back end, where now you're seeing some funding. And it's also an education, because once you do that one-time funding, you want to continue to do that, right? It's something that's kind of recurring. So you do, let's say, an initial level of funding, some people call credit stacking. And do you have to wait a certain periods? Do your accounts need to season? Does the bank need, you want to make yourself lendable, right? So
for sure.
What are those data points that you want to be at to make yourself the most lendable as possible?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So credit stacking is a good example. It is something that we've got a good relationship. We don't do it internally, but we have a relationship, obviously, that does. And a lot of times you want your credit to be over 700 personally, right? And when your credit is over 700, it opens the doors for a lot of opportunity personally to be able to get more personal credit. From a business standpoint, you have trade vendor lines, business revenue goals, lines of credit, small business, SBA loans, retirement account loans, real estate loans. We have 15 different options because banks are businesses. And things are constantly changing. I know we're going to talk about entity structure here in a little bit, but last year, there was a bank that went out of business. And every year, there's changes that are happening. So being aware of what those changes are, business doesn't operate the same 5 years ago as it does today. And so being ahead of that curve and understanding what the annual changes are from a business standpoint, from a banking standpoint, and from a tax standpoint, it gives you a leg up because most people don't stay ahead of that curve. And when you know what the changes are, it's easier to implement those into your business. So on the personal side, having over a 700 credit score is ideal. On the business side, having over 2 years in business with income and 2 years of tax returns is ideal. So if in the first 2 years, if you're just getting started, build up that credit profile so that you can get to a point to get larger lines of credit. One of my favorite websites, it's called 80,000hours.org. It's 80000.org, 80,000hours.org. What this website says is that people that are self-employed make more money than people that are employed. People work 80,000 hours over the course of their life, make 1.5 million and pay 500 grand back in the form of taxes on an average. So banks know this, right? I'm obsessed with credit. I call my cards every 6 months and I say, we doing a credit increase or we lowering my interest rate, right? Banks work for you. And when you have good credit, when you make money, it's easier to get more money and larger credit lines. So being able to plan ahead and plan accordingly is proactive versus reactive. That's what we always tell our clients. If you proactively plan, you don't have to reactively be disappointed.
That's incredible. Guys, be mindful, take advantage again to these opportunities. Tommy, let's get into those LLC formations, right? People, you bring up LLCs. Sometimes I'm in Zooms and people say, hey, I have an LLC problem. And it goes down a rabbit hole, right? People, it just goes so many places. I'm sure you have these experiences and people are always going to want an answer to their problem. And again, sometimes it just, the structure, the forms and how you do it correctly, right? You want to have also a vision and to grow into something, right? So you're looking to forecast. Like me, I'm in real estate. I'm looking to forecast my business. I have a podcast, right? I have a merch line. Should I have a LLC for a merch line? Should I have an LLC for my media company, right? All these things, just giving you a story on my end. Where do you start? Kind of literally, where's the starting point?
Yeah, it's a complicated question. It really is. And what this comes down to, and this is something that I've realized in the last 13 years, when you have a complicated question, if you go ask that question to an attorney and a CPA, it is very common to get two completely different answers, right? The truth is oftentimes somewhere in the middle for you as an entrepreneur. So when we talk about entity structure, these are the three things that I tell people to really take into consideration. Number one is privacy and protection. How much privacy do you want? I don't want my name and my address listed on state websites, right? How much protection do you need? That's going to change as you build wealth and as you grow your portfolio. So that's number one, is privacy and protection. Number two is tax benefits, profit or loss. Okay, good or bad, profit or loss. How do you put yourself in the best position possible when you're making financial decisions? Number three is credibility. Show yourself as a legitimate business, not only to your clientele, but to banks and lenders as well, right? You are a business owner. You're the CEO or the president, even when you're just getting started. I think that really goes a long way. But when it comes to entity structuring, we need to be aware of the type of income that you're generating. Not all states are created equal when it comes to corporate law. For instance, Delaware and Wyoming are corporate haven states. They have more privacy than other states offer. So myself, Ace Morby, you got a Wyoming holding company that owns your other businesses. so that if your other businesses get sued, it doesn't show that I'm the owner and my address. It shows that it's owned by a company out of Wyoming where my name is not public information. Now, the reason that that's important is because you don't know who you're doing business with all the time. You don't know what your tenants are, what they did or didn't tell you the truth about. So having that privacy is a great protection and a great peace of mind for a lot of entrepreneurs. So being aware of that, and then are you generating active or passive income? If you're wholesaling or if you're fix and flipping, that's active income. You probably need an S Corp election to pay yourself a salary or a distribution and to avoid half of your self-employment tax in the form of Medicare and Social Security. That can save you about 7%. You make 100 grand, it's 7 grand back in your pocket as opposed to Uncle Sam's. If it's passive income and you have rental properties, there isn't self-employment tax. So making sure you're set up properly, we've been able to save clients hundreds of thousands of dollars just by making sure the entities are set up properly, right? So privacy and protection, tax benefits, and credibility is something you should take into consideration. We're happy to help you with it, obviously, but even if you talk to an attorney or a CPA, know that those answers could vary based off of their bias. Attorneys protect your assets, accountants file your taxes. Be aware of your situation as an entrepreneur because no one cares about your money more than you do. I tell people that all the time, and that's something that I think is really important to be aware of.
Yeah, again, incredible knowledge. Thank you for that. What do you think about that BOI that was kind of postponed? For people who don't know, that's what is it again?
Yeah, so the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network came out January 1st, 2024, saying that every business owner has to report their information to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. So we scrambled, we put together a portal for all of our clients. Alabama said it's unconstitutional, so they were on hold. But just recently, Texas actually came out and federally, they said that it's unconstitutional. It goes against the 8th or the 10th Amendment. I can't remember. So as of right now, all of that is on hold. You do not have to report the BOI filing anymore as of right now. Now, could that change? Yes, because they're going to go and they're going to try and amend it. But everything's always changing, right? With Trump in office, I think they're going to get rid of it altogether. I've never really been a fan of it because the reason they say they're doing it is to help fight against money launderers and scammers and tax avoiders. And the reason that I've never really been a big fan is because if I was a scammer or a money launderer, my first thought wouldn't be, I'm going to go give my information to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. I just wouldn't do it, right? So unfortunately, I've already filed all of my BOI reports on all of my businesses. Yeah. But as of right now, they're saying that it's on hold. It's not a requirement. Last I checked, there's about 40 million businesses in the US and only about 10 million completed it. They're saying that they were going to do $500 a day in fines, up to 2 years in jail. How are they going to implement that, right? So I was never a big fan. I'm so sick of the 3 letters BOI. I can't even tell you. But right now it is on hold. That could change depending on when you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, I think, like you said, that next administration is going to put a kibosh to this because this is it's kind of ridiculous. Who's going to enforce all this as just by the data you just shared? Who's going to, again, literally enforce this stuff? So again, we don't know why the motive of this was, but it was, again, people were very apprehensive. It was kind of scary, those numbers they're throwing out at people. So people, again, I filed because I didn't want that headache. And I even confirmed, I said, am I good to go? Yes. And then this kind of drops. And now people are like, man, woo, I'm glad I procrastinated, right? So the procrastinator kind of won this time around.
Right.
So, yeah. So I'm like, oh, man. Oh, shucks. Again, this is for being diligent, always being on top of things. This is what you get. But hey,
yeah, and I don't know either what, like you and I, for instance, both of our information is in that BOI portal. Yeah, what are they going to do with that information? I don't know. We don't have answers to that yet. So obviously, once we do, I'll make all of our clients aware, and we got to roll with the punches. That's being a business owner. Things don't always go your way, and there isn't always 100% clarity, but we got to have the resources to be able to figure it out. And as soon as I know, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to make you aware as a client. And that's all we can do for the time being.
Appreciate that. Just talking about what you talk about, how things are ever changing and things are so pliable and like water. Do you guys have a newsletter? Do you guys happen to have a newsletter in your page? Because I just think that's kind of also valuable, just to maybe have that to keep people abreast of people who are interested in changes of what happens, right?
Yeah, we do that. Also, you can follow, Facebook, Instagram, feel free to follow us. And we do a tax tip of the week. I'm trying to find it right now. I wrote this book as well. It's called From Vision to Venture. And it's basically everything that I've learned over the last 13 years. Myself and my team put it together. It says my name on it, but it was a full team effort to put that book together. We'll give everyone an opportunity. Maybe we'll get a link or something like that where everyone can get that book, get an ebook for free. Sure. I put this together to give it away. And a lot of it is just based off of what we've talked about. What states are best and why? Does it benefit you to have a holding company and why? What's the difference between sole proprietorships, multi-members, S-corps? But follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Prime Corporate Services on everything, tax tip of the week. We really try and keep information out in front of you so that you can proactively stay ahead of tax planning as opposed to reactively filing, because that costs clients thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars a year by not having a game plan in place.
Awesome. Again, now let's get into the makings of a hero, a little segment I call, where do you see yourself going? Where do you see your business growing? Who are you going to help? Who are you going to service? And what are those plans?
Yeah, good question. This is where one of my favorite books is Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman, because it identifies visionaries and integrators. And my partner and CEO, Steve Harward, is a total visionary. He looks 5 years down the road and sees where we're going with this business. I like doing the work. I like doing the podcast. I like talking about entity and business credit and taxes. It's something that I have truly fallen in love with. I'm very, very passionate about it. Our goal is to help more business owners. And when it comes to business credit, it's tough to navigate how to get the largest lines of credit. When it comes to taxes, we help a lot of real estate investors, a lot of stock investors, a lot of online businesses. I can't tell you the last time I got in an Uber or a Lyft and I didn't teach them how to save money on taxes because they're 1099. I am so passionate about this, and I have so much gas left in the tank that I want to continue to help more business owners. One of the big things that I've done over the last year, an initiative of mine, I've got 2 little girls. And I've helped them understand I've got money invested into IRAs and life insurances, and I pay my children from my business and use it as a tax deduction. I want to be able to help with the financial literacy for families. When you graduate high school, you don't know about taxes and interest rates and how to buy a house and they hide that information from you, it feels like, right? Yep. So I want to be able to be a resource to help families and change the legacy and change generations, to help their children, to help their friends, to help their family members, while continuing on the mission of helping business owners. So I've got gas in the tank. I don't plan on going anywhere. I don't plan on making any changes unless something crazy happens. My goal is to continue helping people that are self-employed understand how to change the direction of their entire family's legacy.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a shame that the school system doesn't kind of teach us those financial literacy, that civics. Again, just that basic foundation that you can carry through the rest of your life, right? And unfortunately, we have to sometimes learn the hard way, right? Through getting burned and applying for too much credit. Like in college, if you go to college in these campuses, when I was younger, I used to see all these credit card companies the first day of school be in front of the school and people applying for credit. And you get this 18, 19, 20-year-old people who have no experience, no credit, and they apply for a credit, get accepted. They max that sucker out. They have no means of paying it back, and now they have a situation on our hands that they don't even know is going to hurt them as they grow, right? And then they later find out, oh, my taxes ding, my credit is ding. What happened? And then, oh, you were delinquent, you weren't paying your card. Again, it's such a backward system that sometimes it's upon us, the people, to be able to fill in those spaces.
Yeah, well said. I've been waiting 20 years for an algebra problem to come across my desk, and I'm yet to see it, but I got to file my taxes every year. So I couldn't agree more. That is 100% my thoughts and my feelings around it. And unfortunately, I think in a school system that there is good. I wouldn't say it's totally broken. I think that the school system does have some good teachings, but it could be better. And we can't rely on the school system to give our kids and to give our loved ones the information they need to better themselves financially. We got to go do it together, and all boats rise together. And Pace is big on this collaboration over competition. I couldn't agree more. He's taught me a lot. Him and Jamil have taught me a lot about just collaborating and being able to help more people. And I think that's really where we're headed.
Yeah. Shout out to Pace. Shout out to Jamil. Tommy, any parting words for our audience? You've been so incredible with your knowledge.
One thing I always tell people is fall in love with what you love and hire out what you don't love. That's the beauty of being self-employed, right? I like doing the work. I'm okay with that. I'm not the visionary that can think super far ahead, but I have a business partner that is. I talk about taxes and tax savings. I'm not going to keep my own books. I have a bookkeeper. I've got a financial planner, right? Do the things that you like to do and double down on them. Enjoy those things and realize that it's okay to not like scrubbing the toilets. It's okay to not do the bookkeeping. But when you create financial freedom, buy your time back by hiring it out. And when you think bigger, you enjoy what you do, and you're able to double down on loving what you do, it makes being self-employed that much more enjoyable. So double down on what you love, hire out what you don't, and think bigger. The world's out there. There's a lot of money out there. And there's enough for everyone as long as you have a good product and you lead with a big heart.
Tommy, again, thank you for coming on the Real Estate Deli. I appreciate you for coming on. And for, again, I contacted you. You responded. You're a stand-up guy. You remembered actually to follow up again. You reminded me. So again, it says a lot about who you are. So again, much thanks to you and appreciate you. Hope to have you again.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, bye-bye.